Hey guys, it's basically our last day of summer here. It's mid-August and the last day of actual summer is late September, but we're going to be gone for 3 weeks during that time. Then when we get back, it'll be colder. So we're going to do this big last summer hurrah and drive about 5 hours, see a show that's an incredible show. It's a tribute to Johnny Carson show back in the day. Lance Burton, who was a big hero of mine growing up, is going to be on the show, as well as The Passing Zone, Pat Hazel, Joan Embery, who used to do the animals on the show. So we'll drive about 5-6 hours, see the show, say hi to Pat, who's a friend of mine, and then turn right around and drive back, and then get a couple hours of sleep, then join Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Sea in Bayonne, New Jersey a couple hours later. And then from there we have another contract. So we're going to be gone for like 3 weeks. So this is why it's like our last, summer hurrah. Off we go. Right now, including charging, it looks like it's going to take us 4 hours, 45 minutes, something like that. Our first stop is at the supercharger at State College, PA, and then we have to fill up there. 2:55 p.m. stop for 2 hours, 38 minutes, and that's 161 miles away, and then you continue on to the trip.
God, never seen a day like this. Finally getting that sun kiss. Good God, if there's light, there's nothing missing. Filling my cup with some love in the kitchen, 'cause I'm so sweet.
Right now I want to show you the auto lane change. So we can see that the lane is open over here. It's showing us the side camera right there, our blind spot, that there's nothing in it. Because this is all blue, it's saying that we can get over. So if I turn my turn signal, you can see it's flashing, and the car actually is now getting over into that lane on its own. I wasn't on the steering wheel at all here, and now we're in the second lane. And that is auto lane change. That's part of full self-driving. Full self-driving is now $12,000 when you buy a new Tesla. I don't really know if it's worth $12,000 unless you have that just to blow. We're in the passing lane right now, and the car is saying that we shouldn't be in the passing lane. We should go over to the regular driving lane. So you can see it has a little message here that reads, confirm lane change out of passing lane. Use turn signal or gear stalk to confirm. So it wants us going over to this little open area here. So if I just hit the turn signal here, you can see the green flashing, and the car is actually driving itself over to the next lane. My hands are not on the steering wheel at all, even though maybe, they should be. I'll go right back now. And now, it annoyingly wants us to go back to the passing lane to be in a faster lane, so sometimes it can't exactly make up its mind. So I'll do that again. I'm gonna tap the gear stalk there, or the turn signal, and now we're in this lane. And you can see that blue line, that's basically our route that we're driving. It is sensing the cars around us. There goes that car. The other thing you have to be aware of is that every minute or so, it wants you to retouch the steering wheel to make sure that your hands are on the wheel. So it'll begin flashing a blue light up here, and there's an indicator there, and that means it wants you to touch the steering wheel again. So a little trick on that is if you pull the steering wheel too much, you feel like you're gonna over control it. You just hit this dial, and so these are little dials here on your steering wheel, and if that dial goes up or down just a little bit, these change the volume or the speed, etc. But if you go up or down just a little bit, that will actually get rid of that warning for the time being until it happens again, and then you can just go up or down on the dial again. I usually do keep my hands on the steering wheel just in a relaxed position during autopilot or full self-driving. This dial over here controls your speed. If you look up here, it says we're going 50 to 55. If I just hit this dial up one full swipe, now we're going 55 into 55. Or I can just turn one little click at a time, and that will change the speed 1 mile per hour at a time. If I just go one click at a time like this. Again, a swipe down will go down by the nearest 5. A swipe up will go up by the nearest 5. Here's a fun little feature, a little tip. If you want to get the charge port open, you can say, open butthole. And the charge port is open, and it's ready to charge. In Pennsylvania and the surrounding area, Sheetz are like one of the go-to gas stations because they have food and stuff like that. But now they have Tesla superchargers at increasingly more of them, and so it's more reason that it's a go-to place. Wawa is starting to get them as well.
You want something?
Do I want something?
These operations were victorious, but also extremely humbling. The takeaways, both good and bad, vast. The Battle of Ramadi provided a litany of lessons learned, which we were able to capture and pass on. The greatest of these was the recognition that leadership is the most important factor on the battlefield.
Just charging again quick before we get to the theater, which is another maybe 2 or so hours away. And then that way we don't have to charge as much on the way back.
Tu me prends par la main et j'ai fait tout pour toi. Can you feel it? Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Can you feel it? Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a good, good, good time. So turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. It's gonna be a good, good, good life. I'm gonna get up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Bring me to my knees, you got the baddest vibe. On fait ce qu'on veut, on n'a pas de regret. I like the tension, like it's a bit of her. La vie c'est en rose, what t'es ma préférée. Can you feel it?
So we made it to the Reglina here in Jamestown, New York. We're going to see the show. It's got a pretty good lineup. You can see on the program here. I'll open it up real quick. Right there. Anyway, a lot of great acts there. So pretty stoked to see this. I'll tell you how it goes. I'm sure it'll be great. The show was absolutely amazing. Got to meet Lance afterwards, and I totally fanboyed and was like, blah, 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 blah. I could not, like, you know, say anything coherent overly. We did get a photo with him, which was very cool. He's very well known to be such like a gracious guy, and he was no different tonight. He was completely gracious as usual. So now we have about a 6-hour drive home, and then get some sleep, and then join the Royal Oasis of the Seas tomorrow. So we better get moving. Hey guys, it is about 3:20 or so a.m. I just got home. I'm friends with Pat Hazel, who put the show together. He took me downstairs to meet Lance Burton. Lance Burton was an absolute total hero of mine growing up. He still has one of the best acts in all of magic, period, and he did a great job. Probably the best variety show that I've ever seen, period, and just one of the best shows that I've ever seen because everybody was a top-notch person. Cathy Ladman was absolutely hilarious. Pat started off the show. He did some stand-up as well. He was hilarious. He used to be a writer for Seinfeld. They pulled clips from the Tonight Show archives of when these artists first came on the Tonight Show, and so Johnny actually introduced them on stage on a big projection screen, and then the artists would walk out and perform for 10 or 15 or so minutes. There was a standing ovation at the end, and one of the artists actually got a standing ovation during. Don, who was a storyteller, told an amazing story about how he had gotten accepted by Johnny to do the Tonight Show, but that his manager actually never contacted them, and it was the last few months that Johnny was going to be on air. It was very emotional, and the audience gave him a standing ovation, which was well-deserved. He was hilarious. His bits and his act was really hilarious, but the fact that, you know, it was so bittersweet that he got accepted to Carson's Tonight Show and never ended up getting to perform on it. I don't know if they're going to tour it or not. I don't think there's any plans for that, but they kind of should, because I think people would absolutely show up, and there's so many artists that you could utilize, and, you know, but they were all great. It's the second time I got to see the Passing Zone live. I thought they were phenomenal the first time I saw them. They're one of my favorite acts, and then tonight they absolutely slayed as well. They closed out the show, and the audience absolutely loved them. So I've performed at the Reglina, I always pronounce that wrong. I've performed at that theater a couple times, 2 or 3 or 4 times actually. And actually, I was their last show coming into the pandemic. I was the last show that they ran before the pandemic. And they were one of my last shows before the pandemic. I think they were actually my last theater that I did right as we went into the pandemic. It's a beautiful theater. If you're in that area, check it out. And if you get a chance to go to the National Comedy Museum and check out the Carson exhibit especially, they actually have an animated, live as such, hologram of Jimmy Fallon there, who sort of walks you through. They have the real curtain from his show, which is a pretty famous curtain, this sort of multicolored curtain. So I absolutely want to check that out. I didn't have enough time today because the day was way too long as it was, so I didn't get to check it out. But again, Jamestown, New York is actually where Lucille Ball was born and where they dedicated that horrible statue to her that one time. But the town, is very well known for that, and they have big murals up actually on different buildings of her, the Vegevita Vitamite thing that she had done one time, as well as a portrait of her and Desi. And then every year they do a big show where celebrity comedians and stuff come in and perform. It was a great night. Pat, you did an awesome job, buddy. I was blown away. You produced an amazing show. Very, very special night. And there was actually some interesting people in the audience. One of them, oddly enough, who I've seen at other things before, but was Frank Oz, who played Yoda. I think he directed Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and pretty interesting guy. Definitely well worth the 12-hour round trip. Very long day. If you can't tell, I'm absolutely beat, and so I'm going to get out of here and go to bed. So if you like this video, please destroy the like button. If you'd like to see more, hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when we release new videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, and also, if you want to learn magic or get some new magic, hit the link below to Vanishing Ink. Thank you guys. I'm going to go to bed. See you in the next one. So it's about 3:20.